Hi, this is James Ng, and today we're going to talk about coronavirus, but then its impact on multifamily owners. And we're going to touch on the stimulus package and then some new acronyms for you guys, PPP and EIDL. So let's just jump right into it. My background, born and raised in Houston, went to school in Austin at UT, and was a commercial underwriter for 8 years at G Capital, and then moved over to work at Old Capital about 5 years ago and have originated about $750 million in multifamily loans across 125 properties. And then also invested across 6,000 units across 21 properties in DFW, Austin, and San Antonio. So unemployment came out today, another huge number, 6.6 million compared to 3.3 last week. And so these are just breaking records every week. So what's the government going to do? Essentially, they shut down everybody. So now it has to put money at the beginning of the cycle, right? So, Pensford called it helicopter money. Helicopter money comes in, drops it on everybody. So whether that's the $1,200 or $2,400 you're getting as a family, and then, $500 for your kids, each one of your kids. So you drop the helicopter money, you get that into the tenants' hands, right? So before they worked, but now the government's just going to give them money, right? So helicopter money goes to the tenants pay the rent, the borrowers can pay the banks, and then the banks can securitize these loans and the investors get paid on the back end. So for the individuals, what has happened, they sent out the individual money. That's pretty straightforward. What now they're doing is, all right, on the small business side, so 500 employees or less, they have two programs, Paycheck Protection Program and Economic Injury Disaster Loan. So here's a high-level summary. Let's just hit some of these really quick. So let's go Paycheck Protection Program. So 2.5 times your monthly payroll. It can be forgiven up to 100%. And then the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, it's up to $2 million. And right now, a small portion, $10,000, is eligible for forgiveness. The rest you're going to have to pay back at about 3.75%. All right, so let's get into it. So we had a couple calls with lenders, and let's start with the Paycheck Protection Program. So this one is available through June 30th. I don't think anyone thinks the money is going to last that long. So get in line. Applications start tomorrow, Friday, April 3rd. For small businesses, sole proprietorships, and independent contractors is a week later, and self-employed April 10th. All right. So you have to, in this Paycheck Protection Program, you have to go through an SBA lender. My preference, let's say you own a multifamily property and you have a business account at a bank, let's say Wells Fargo, Bank of America, those types, use your existing banker, right? They already know you. They will fight for you and push this through on their end. No fees for the borrower. They're paid by the government. So the government's saying, we're going to pay you for each one of these loans that you process because there's no way that we could do it. All the loans have the same terms, regardless of the lender or borrower. So there's going to be very limited underwriting. You're not going to have, one person, getting, higher interest rate or anything like that. So there's really two things, right? So they're going to look at, all right, have you been in business as of February 15th? That's the main date. So if you just bought a property in March, you're not going to qualify for this. But let's say you bought a property 2019, you're in business, and you have a 200 unit property here in Dallas, then, let's say $1,000 per unit, $200,000 per year. And then let's say it's $12,000 a month, right? So they're going to take that $12,000 a month, monthly payroll times 2.5 equals $30,000. And they're going to say, all right, how many jobs do you have? Let's say you have 2 in, 2 out, 4 jobs, right? So they're going to give you a loan for $30,000. All right. And if you use that in the next 8 weeks, right? So if you get the loan, let's say April 15th, the next 8 weeks, you pay out the payroll, you pay the $30,000 out over those 8 weeks. Then you go back to your bank and say, look, here's the proof. I paid the payroll with the money that you gave me. It is forgiven and it is not counted as income. And there is no collateral or personal guarantees required. All you have to do is maintain your payroll, right? But if you come back and say, actually, one guy, I didn't need 2 people in the office, right? So I went to 1 person in the office and it's only 3 people, then maybe 75% of it will be forgiven. And the rest you'll have to either use it for other things, right? So there's 4 things really. Payroll is number 1. They want you, it's called the Paycheck Protection Program for a reason. Payroll is number 1. Second is mortgage interest. Third is rent. And 4th is utilities. All right. So if you use it for those 4 things, it will be forgiven. So the SBA put a sample application on their website. I would definitely check that out today. It essentially says, look, what's your monthly payroll, number of jobs, how are you going to use this? And it asks, okay, who owns more than 20% of your LLC that you're applying for, right? And you have to write their name, socials, addresses there. and answer these questions. Have you been in bankruptcy? Do you have a delinquent loan with SBA? Have you, had any issues on criminal charges? Has there been a felony or misdemeanor? Or are you not a U.S. citizen? So these things are sort of check the box, yes or no. And if any of those things are checked, then you're in trouble. You're not going to get the loan. And they're pretty much going to say, don't even apply for this loan. And so that's, once you fill that out, you send it in. Most banks that we've talked to, they've essentially set this up online. There's no way they're going to have all these people coming into their offices to apply for these loans. So you need to get in line on Friday, first thing, and apply for these, because major banks like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, all these guys, they're going to have a limit per day on how many of these apps they can take. And so once that limit is out, they're going to shut it down. They're going to shut down the application process. And then you're going to have to wait till Saturday, Sunday, Monday to apply again. So get in line tomorrow, get your documents in a row, make sure you're able to answer all these questions very clearly, and get your money. Because, I mean, a lot of us have properties or have businesses that this will apply for. All right. Second one, economic injury disaster loan. This is really two parts, right? So it has an advanced portion, which is up to $10,000, which is forgivable and that you can apply for. And the other part is really just a loan. So it's up to $2 million, 30-year term, fixed at 3.75. You apply directly through the SBA on their website. It's available now. This is where it's a little tricky, is you might have to pledge some collateral. So they haven't really been super specific on what that means. And you have to show that your property or your business has been seriously distressed. So whether that's a 50% drop in revenue, this is a bigger loan, right? For most people, for most properties, getting $2 million is a lot more than $50,000 or $30,000. And so this is a lot bigger loan. This might allow you to sort of make it through a downturn. If, unemployment was 6 million people this past week and it keeps growing, then this might be there for you. You can apply for both. If you do take, I think, PPP and EIDL, then they're probably not going to let you double dip on both of them. So you probably have to pick one or reduce one by the other's amount. So those are the two big programs. I made it a little SBA lender we talked with. They sent us over sort of a compare and contrast between the two. Let's just hit these at a high level. In terms of eligibility and ineligible, it appears like PPP is just basically like anybody, right? So if you have a business under 500 employees, then you're going to meet the requirements. On the EIDL, it did list some ineligible in terms of religious organizations, charitable, lending or investment concerns, real estate developers. So that part is sort of fuzzy, right? And so in terms of whether it's a management entity or something like that could apply, that part could just sort of cross off the EIDL right there. So what can you use for these loans? PPP is really payroll, rent, utilities, interest between February 15th to June 30th. And then the same thing for EIDL. Max loan amounts 2.5x of your monthly payroll on the PPP, and then the $2 million on the EIDL. And so most of these you can put off for 6 months. So you get the money now, you put it off for 6 months up to a year, and then you might have 10 to 30 years to pay it back. So plenty of time to pay it back. In terms of rates, if it's not forgiven, PPP is looking at about 4% and then 3.75. So pretty low interest rate. There's no fees. This is where, in terms of guarantees and collateral, this EIDL is going to have more hooks in it for sure. They might have a guarantee from the borrower. They might have collateral that it needs to put up if it's over $25,000. And that's where I could see like Fannie and Freddie having an issue. If your LLC is applying for these loans and they're saying, hey, we need to put a lien against your property, that's going to be an issue for Fannie and Freddie. So watch that. And if that happens, I mean, I don't think people are going to be taking that EIDL loan. And in terms of underwriting, right? So, I mean, the PPP is pretty straightforward. It says, all right, were you in operation February 15th, 2020? And then you pay payroll and payroll taxes, right? So pretty straightforward. And then they're going to say, all right, after 8 weeks, just show us proof that you paid the payroll that you said you were going to pay. And then you retain the staff. And so that's pretty straightforward. But then in terms of underwriting, it's going to be pretty detailed on the EIDL, right? So PFS, tax returns, P&L, balance sheet, and it's not going to be forgiven. So I think the PPP is going to be a lot better for most people. It's going to be a shorter term, smaller amount, but just sort of a forgiven loan that a lot of people can apply for. You have to go through the bank And a lot of banks are telling us, look, if you don't have a relationship with us, we have 40,000 people at the door right now. If you don't have a bank account with us, this is going to be very hard for us to push you through, and you're going to be at the bottom of the list. And so really reach out to your banker who has an account with you guys, and that'll be the best way. And then the economic injury disaster is through the SBA. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is going to be a super fluid situation. I really wanted to get this information out to you because I think there's a lot of confusion around it. And if you want to set up some time to talk with me just about this program or potentially some other, whether buying, selling, or refinancing your next multifamily deal, send me an email, and you can see all my loan closings at txmultifamily.com. And thanks a lot.